offices or the programs are everywhere in the world, more than 170 countries. And this is from the US government. This is supported by US Department of State. That means that an equivalent to Foreign Ministry of Bangladesh. We provide you with accurate, current, and comprehensive information. We are not going to provide you with any biased information. Unbiased information we will provide you. We are not going to provide you with something which is like, you know, I'm not going to talk about 10 universities, 20 universities, or just 500 or 1,000 universities, or even 3,900 universities. We represent all the accredited institutions in the US, and we encourage you to do your own search, and we will give you the resources where to search from, and what to look for, things like how, like, you know, guide you. But it is going to be your decision. We will provide you a comprehensive information, but we will guide you how to narrow down your searches and researches, so that you can go to, like, you know, one university or the one program which is most suitable for you. That brings us to the third point, which is we offer resources and guidance, advice on how to find the best fit. Best fit is a very, very unique factor, again, in the US universities. US universities look for students who are best fit for that particular institutions or the program. So it's not like Bangladesh or, like, you know, some other countries where the best universities like, you know, get the best students in terms of just academic results, or best students who got, for example, GPA 5 or GPA 4, whatever the scale of the program is. If the best students just go to the best universities, that is not the way US universities. Their approach is more holistic. The holistic means that US universities look at students as a person, as an individual, rather than just their CGPA or academic results. That means that there are other components within the students, and that is not to discourage the good results or the good students, or, like, no, that is not a barrier for the good students. Obviously, if you have a good CGPA, perfect CGPA of 4 out of 4, you are still, like, you know, you're great. But you can also demonstrate, like, you know, what is your extracurricular activities, what is your for example, at the graduate level, like, you know, research experience or research activities. What kind of recommendation letter are you getting from your professor? So those are important factors. So best fit means the match between the student and the university. Again, not every good university is good for a particular student. You are coming from English engineering background, you know, you might have heard about many good names in the US, or, like, you know, most renowned universities. But coming from a particular program, it might not be the best for you to go to a certain university which is good for example, law or medicine. So I'm not overgeneralizing, but, you know, for each student, there has to be a separate kind of mechanism to find that best university for you, because you are an individual, and university is also a unique character, because each university is different. They have their own choice, priorities, and also they make a class which is, like, you know, for that year, that is what they look for. So usually, because, you know, a class of 2020 or a class of 2021 will not be always the same. You know, it will not say that, okay, every student who has above 3.8 CGPA in a very good university, and with 310 or 315 GRE score will get to access, or that is the minimum. You may have, like, you know, a little bit of less GRE score, or like, you know, not a perfect CGPA. You can still like, you know, cover it up by preparing in other ways. So I'll come to that. Like, you know, today we are discussing about the basic things. If I get opportunities to talk to you more in future, or if you are interested, we can do more in-depth discussions on all of this, because those takes time. But the Education USA the model Education USA Advising, or what we call it, is a 5 steps model. So we take you through step by step, step by step. It's not a 100-meter sprint that you just start from one place and within 10 seconds, if you're Usain Bolt, you finish. So it's going to take you time. We usually tell students to start at least 12 months before a program. So the next academic cycle is 2021 fall. That is the September session of 2021. If you target that session to go to the US, it's enough time for now. So over the next 12 months, you'll have to do certain activities to be able to find that best university for you. You remember again, the best university for you. Not like, no, you are coming from, for example, the same university, Rajshahi University, from the same department, but your destination university may not be the same because you have different financial need, if you have different career focus in the future, so it's going to be different. What we do, like, advise you to do is take these 5 steps. Easy. Research your option, finance your studies. That means that, okay, find an university which is academically like, it looks like there is a match between you and the university. Finance your studies is basically what kind of finance you have and what are you looking for. What kind of financial aid you need if the university is providing you that is a financial match as well. Complete your application is the 3rd step. Complete your application properly. That means that, again, properly means not just putting in the application. Properly means you take your preparation. I can give a quick example here. Like, your statement of purpose, writing that can take up to 3 months. That doesn't mean that you'll have to write one statement of purpose over the next 3 months, but you may have to customize a little bit when you apply to different universities, right? Like, coming from the same background, education background, you and your friend, like, they might, like, you might have 2 different areas to focus. So it's going to be different for you, different for example, you might want to go to something related to non-engineering, right? Maybe. Then your statement of purpose for that program should be different from if you are also applying to an engineering program in another university. So you can apply to 2 different programs, or like, slightly different programs, and depending on that, your statement of purpose might differ a little bit. So you have to work on that, and we can have a 1-hour full session on statement of purpose itself, because that's one thing very, very important for graduate admission. But that's where we discuss in detail. But even if you do not get, like, the opportunity to talk to one of us for a statement of purpose, but remember this from today's session, that your statement of purpose has to have some component on the research you are doing on each university. So, for example, you're doing some research on one university. You have found there what are they looking for, what the program is looking for, what kind of students they're looking for. If you have a match between that program and your statement of purpose is going to direct on that. On the other hand, if you are going for example, another program in another university, but if you do not find that match between you have a gap, then again, you're interested in that program. You might have to, like, write a supplementary essay, or like tell a different story. For example, like, I studied this in my undergraduate, but now I'm pursuing a different track of education because I want to develop. So that is a separate statement of purpose than if you're going from same computer science or related field. So it depends. And that's why completing your application is not just submitting some documents. It has to have some recommendation letter. I'll come to that in my next slide, but just to give you an idea. So your 4th step is your visa. The visa is like, when you complete your application, you will get a letter called I-20. if you are successful. And that's when a question on visa comes in. Still, you can talk to Education USA, talk to a consular officer at the embassy through Education USA sessions on visa. There can be a 1-hour session conducted by a consular officer from the embassy, which Education USA organizes, and then ask your questions, or get your ideas sorted out, how to plan for your visa appointments, or how to prepare for that step. And then the last thing is your prepare for your departure. Again, you're not just going to a study, you're not just going there to start the program. You have to finish that very well. We want you to, our university wants you to be successful. And so preparing for departure from Bangladesh means that what kind of preparation you can take from before even going there, not just academic preparation, like your mental preparation, your where to stay, what would to use for office, or sorry, home to university commute, or food plan, like clothing, and how to stay on your visa properly, how what rules and regulations are there if you should follow, so that you're not in a trouble. There should be some sort of research or preparation done. So that is very important, because going from one a country from South Asia to a North American country, weather, culture, everything is going to be different. So prepare for departure is, and this is not just just before flying out. You can take this kind of awareness right from when you start researching your universities as well. So going forward, Education USA Bangladesh helps you to define your priorities. Today we are conducting an activity A, basically. I will cover some portion from activity B as well, because we do not talk too often, or this is a huge opportunity for you to also get some idea on activity B as well. So this is step-by-step process. So we call it activity A and B and C, D and E. So that means that each activity means, or each session has a focus, and that is how you can reach to activity E, which means that know your application requirements. Now, at the end of this 4 activities or 5 activities till E, you will know what is the application requirement. That means that if you are going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 university applications you are submitting, you will know what are the requirements in each university. There might be similar things, there might be one different things, including, as I said, the SOP, or some universities might ask for a detailed job requirement rather than the other university or other program. So university to university or program to program may have a separate requirement, or a standardized test score. One university might ask you a TOFEL score of certain score. The other university might ask for a lesser score. So you will know, okay, are you meeting that requirement? If not, then maybe you should remove that university from your list. Even if you have done your research, as a step 1, you are selecting 10 universities to apply. Now, when you finally apply, then you might have to remove one from the list because you are not meeting that requirement, right? So that is the a logical or step-by-step approach. That will give you confidence on your application, confidence on give you a little bit of certainty or understanding what is going to happen. So on the right side, you can see that this is the step 3 we are talking about today, and which is very important. So there are 8 components of this step 3, right? So the first one is application itself. It's not just 1-page document or a 2-page document of you and your parents' name or your address or things like that. It's a long web-based application form. You have to understand right from the word go what are the kind of information you require. So you start collecting that information. It has to be through the university website most of the times, or in other state-based application system, you might get state application system. There is an application fee for each university, which is around $70 to $80 usually. You'll have to check each university website to find out the particular cost of that university's application. The second component is your tests and transcripts and academic records. That means your mark sheets or certificates or grade reports, things like that. The third point is your English proficiency test. That means either TOEFL or IELTS or PTE, or these days a popular test is Duolingo. That's a internet-based test which you can take from your home. You can also take TOEFL from your home for now because of this COVID-19 pandemic. But these tests are mostly for in-center taking in the center in different parts of Bangladesh. There are centers. The fourth test, which is, so you have to again refer to the university website to understand or know whether they take all those four tests, different tests, or they take two of them, or they just take TOEFL. TOEFL is like now the most popular among the US universities, or most accepted historically, but more and more universities are taking IELTS these days. More than 3,000 universities take IELTS. PT is also a recognized test, and also Duolingo. The fourth component is your test on GRE. Like, you know, you're all engineers, so I believe if you're not trying to go to other field, like, you know, if you're going for a business field, then obviously GMAT, you can prepare for your GMAT test as well. But for you, it's GRE. And you know GRE, I can talk about it in detail if you have any question. So that is number 4. Number 5 is your personal statement of purpose. Like, don't forget about all other terms for now. If you are new, like, you know, there can be called essay, it can be called like personal statement, or it can be called like, you know, different names, supplementary essay. But the one thing most universities will ask you to submit is called statement of purpose. Statement of purpose is like, you know, it has a characteristic. All in the essays are essentially kind of the same, but statement of purpose is basically your past, present, and future. That what you have done, what you are doing now, what you want to do. Like, you know, focus on this area. You can have an introduction, a body, and a, like, you know, a conclusion. Statement of purpose is one document which gives you to also show what you are as a person, or what is your career goals, or things like that. So you have to demonstrate in the statement of purpose why you want to go to that particular university, why that particular program, or what is your career goals, and what have you done in the past to which is motivating you to go to the US to that particular program to study something in that university. So that is very, very important. And we can take we usually take 1 hour session, and you know, you don't have to have a dedicated like session for your peers or your group of students. If you want, you can join all our sessions at because these days we are all virtual. So you can check our Facebook page. Official Facebook page is EducationUSA, sorry, facebook.com/edusa. That's our Facebook page, and then the events page. If you go to the events page, you will, like, you know what kind of sessions we take each month. And then the 5th point is your recommendation letter, which is very 2 to 3 recommendation letter from your professors, research supervisor, current employer. So these kind of things. So that is a recommendation letter requirement again, and that is also very, very important, because you know, that's like, you know, knowing university will know about you from your who you worked with or under, or your peers, or your research supervisor, if you're going for. So that is a perspective, another perspective. What you have been doing things and telling about yourself, but that's a professional perspective for another person, and you can guide your supervisor what to write. Like, you know, don't write it for them, but you can also tell them that, sir, I'm going to this program, and I've done this, and I've taken this course with you, or done this. So I think, sir, if you can highlight certain things about what I did, I think that will be useful. You can give him or her some tips. And again, give him the first request, a reminder, follow up, check it again with him. It takes time. The seventh point is your what you have been doing. Not exactly extracurricular activities, maybe for graduate students. Obviously, extracurricular, you can show that, you can show that there was a IEEE chapter, you are a president of that IEEE chapter, or a treasurer. You organize things for so many students and help students do that. So that's great. But also talk about what you have, what research, or what did you work as a teaching assistant? Did you do an internship? Did you write a paper? Did you do a thesis? You prepare a CV for your graduate studies. The eighth component is your fees and financial records. That is very, very important to plan. As I showed you in my 5 steps of your study slide, that fees and financial studies is the second step. So when you apply, when you prepare your application, that financial plan is going to come. The university will ask you about your bank statement, or they will ask you about how are you going to pay for the universities. Remember, US universities is they are very, very expensive in terms of their tuition fees, and all the cost of attendance, we call it cost of COA. Cost of attendance is tuition fees, your living expenses, including your health insurance, and there are other things for example, books and stationeries and things like that. So that is very well. You, as a graduate student from Bangladesh, you can certainly plan to get scholarships and financial aid. So that is, again, a part of the research. You search for the university and the program, but you also search for scholarships and financial aid. I'm going to give you some hints where to start that from, because obviously, when you go to the university website, you will know what are the kind of things they offer, and you can apply for. But you have to get some ideas to start from. So that's why today I'm going to give you some starting tips as well on that. But you understand that financial documents the university will ask for can come as a savings or current account, or there are different types of fixed term deposit, bonds, or things like that. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter as long as this is your fund or you have access to that fund, right? If you can clearly explain or tell whoever asks you that, I can give you a quick example, right? It may not be the funniest thing, but I found it really interesting. One student actually didn't know, she was a female student. She didn't know about her father's anything about what her father does, or what is what kind of account her father has, or things like that. So she could not actually when there was question, she could not answer properly. She didn't have that awareness. So she didn't have the documentation or the awareness. What was missing is a conversation between that student and her father. She should have talked to her parents that, okay, I'm going to an university, I need a tuition fees per year, for example $20,000. As a living cost, I need $15,000, so that my total cost of 1 year is, for example, $35,000. Dad or father or abba, can you provide that? And father will say, okay, yeah, I have money, I can provide that with. But can you give me documents on that? She didn't ask that question. Then what happened? She had documentation which is not consistent to the cost. The documentation did, and then sometimes parents fear that, tax on other things, it can be a problem or things like if people, I don't know, you have to have a conversation with your parents and clearly understand how are you going. So there can be another example that lot of parents have investment in farms or like fisheries or different. So they do not have cash money, but they might have um, like other investment. So you have to have a conversation. It's not for me to understand or other parties. It's for you to understand first and talk to your parents, or if you are a mature student, graduate level student, if you can finance, you have a more freedom to make your decision. Obviously you can also think in your mind that how are you going to pay. Okay, the cost of attendance is $50,000 for a year. You have $10,000, so you need $40,000 as financial aid. Okay, that is a plan, but you have to have a plan, right? So the bottom line is you have to have a balance of all those eight components, uh, all those eight components of the application. It's not just your transcripts and academic records. It's not just your GRE score. It's not just your financial records. It's a combination of all this. So make a balance of everything so that you are seen as a person, as an individual who has this. Maybe you're strong in one side, maybe not that strong in the other side. For example, your test and academic results are fantastic, but you didn't have a job experience. That's okay. You are seen as a person. That's called holistic admission process. Universities, and each university is different. So if you're as a person matches with the requirement of the university, you are going to get admission and also hopefully financial aid as well. So that is nearly um, around 35 minutes now, nearly 40 minutes. So I'll finish this presentation very, very quickly. I know you may have a lot of questions. So what does universities look for, right? That is the question. They look for some of this, or all of this, or many of this. So they look for your academic performance, also your uniqueness. You might ask, so what is uniqueness? I don't know exactly. I don't know. Maybe you have done something in your university which is very, very unique. Done a research or done something to lead community, or think about some projects which is very, very unique, but some sort of uniqueness. You don't have to be like a genius. We don't, like, no universities do not mean that, but they are receiving a pool of students. They want to pick someone with potential. And how do they pick potential? It depends. The university or the person or the admission officer who looks at it, or the each university. But you should look at some clues on the university website about what are they looking for. Each university is different, as I told you. A university who are focused on medical research, mostly famous for that, or I've been to an university who are like, for example, like our engineering and technology universities in Bangladesh, very, very focused on engineering. They do not really look for if you have done some social work in an undergraduate. Maybe it's good. If you are a club president of your social welfare club of your university, they don't really care about those things. They care about your um, undergraduate academic results. If you're 4 out of 4, 3.9, 3.8, fantastic. And your GRE score. They're very, very focused. Because right from the first semester, first term, they want you to have good knowledge on calculus or your maths and your quantitative skills, so that right from the first term, that is a type of university. Not every university is like that. They can, other universities will give you some time to get used to it, or they're going to take a few courses, and then so I do not mean that one university is better than the other or other university, because again, all are accredited universities, and all of them are good. Any of the 1,000 universities you do your master's or PhD from, if that is what you wanted to do, a program or a research, if you come out of that as a successful student, that means that complete within time, within a, like, you know, standard more than average CGPA or whatever, you are going to be accepted all over the world and be as US university graduate. You will be recognized and you will be like, you know, everywhere is the same. So you don't have to, like, you know, focus to university reputation or ranking. Do not think about that, please. Anyway, right match is that, and you have to have some sort of motivation and commitment, obviously. As I told you, are you looking at US universities, or you are just going to go out of the country, or any country is fine? So motivation and a program, are you focused on that program? Potential leadership skills. So that is basically some of the things students will have to demonstrate through the whole application package. Talking about the financial aid, you can have many ways to bring the cost of attendance down. Remember, I talked about 50,000, and then you have 10,000. How about the rest of the 40,000? So there are ways to um, work on that. So one way is tuition waiver, or like if they can, like, you know, if you meet certain criteria, they can give you some, like, you know, scholarships or financial aid as a tuition waiver. So for example, they are giving you a tuition waiver of 5,000 per year. So that is out of 40,000, 5,000 is less, right? Take notes. Then there are university scholarships. You might not get scholarships from the first semester before you go, but you can also, after you going there, you can apply for scholarships, or like, you know, university scholarships, departmental scholarship, dean's scholarship, president's scholarship. You can, or there might be an option for you to apply ahead of your going there, and ask for a scholarship. Remember, you might have a personal financial source, but still try for those scholarships. This gives you also a better, like, you know, this is also again, you know, motivation and commitment. This is a part of a motivation and commitment, or a demonstration that yes, you are looking for that particular university or a program. You have done research. You're not just, like, you know, applying there. You know what are the options there for financial aid. So apply. The most popular and interesting is fellowships and assistantships. At the graduate level, you can have either fellowship or assistantship. Fellowship is really like, you know, great opportunity. You don't have to really work for that. Work for that means, like, when you go to the university, you don't have to work for the university. They will give you funding, but they will give you funding basically without asking for any service. On the other hand, assistantship is like, you know, you will have to work as a teaching assistant or a research assistant. That is called assistantship. So fellowships are good, but assistantship is also good, because, you know, if you are doing research work, and, like, you know, if you are doing a program which requires research, but at the same time you're getting paid for that work, that is the most useful way, right? And a lot of US universities, especially at the PhD level, offers a lot of assistantships and fellowships. So look for that. Again, when you search, use the search engine, because I'll give you some links at the end of this presentation, and I can email it to your team lead or my corner colleague, so that you can start looking at those websites and look for scholarships and financial aid as well. Not just a, so the final question from today's discussion is, the last sentence written here is general, financial aid is the general term, financial aid. So do not ask for a scholarship, ask for financial aid, or look for financial aid. In the financial aid, there can be assistantships, fellowships, scholarships, waiver, or on-campus job as well. On-campus job can be in a separate area than your department. It can be library, it can be a canteen or cafeteria, or this can be like different ways of on-campus job. 20 hours per week on a regular semester. So that's basically it. On visas, as I said, Education USA organizes visa seminars. You can go to this website and look for visa information. I talked about the pre-departure already. What is pre-departure is. Education services is free seminars on education, university admission process, research, recommendation letters, personal essays, scholarship, financial aid. So there are different topics, and there are like 1 to 1 hour presentation on each of this. There can be free workshops on GRE, GMAT, TOFEL, IELTS, different components of application. Resource library, as I told you, there are resource library all over the Bangladesh in different major cities. In Rajshahi corner, there is a resource library as well. Computers and internet accesses are there as well. Mock test and practice tests are available in our advising centers. Individual counseling, that means that if you want to talk to me, for example, that you it makes sense. So yeah, like so we are doing activity A and even bring the list down to 8 to 10 universities, for example, where you should apply. So that is where you can talk to an advisor like me or any other advisors in Bangladesh. By the way, we have a team of 8 advisors throughout Bangladesh in American Center, me and my 3 other colleagues. At the EMK Center, which is in Dhanmondi, Dhaka, there are advisors as well. So you can set an appointment, talk to an advisor. So that's basically it. These are the locations. Atia, if we have some questions, I can take that and I'll show some other things as well. Let me stop sharing this presentation, but if you have questions, please, I'm happy to answer some at this point.
Thank you, Sohel bhai. We have lots of questions. So we will choose some questions to answer you. And after that questions, if you have more questions, you can raise your hand. So I'm going to the question. From Tajrin Firdos, she asked, hello sir, is it easier for us to get chance in US universities if we do extracurricular activities, or only CGPA matters for higher studies?
That's a very good question, actually, because that is very, very relevant for US universities. US universities, most of the universities look for students who can contribute to the university or the program they are going. So contribute not to the, like, not in terms of just research or in terms of academic, contribute as a student, as an international student, to make an community or make peers knowledgeable by sharing cultures or sharing ideas, or even some club activities or extracurricular activities beyond the classroom. So that is education with education. An exchange of ideas or exchange of thoughts or cultures is also a focus of US universities. So if you have some extracurricular activities, for example, you are a president of your cultural club, or a regular participant of your cultural club of your university, you can certainly demonstrate that in your application, that yes, you were involved in some activities. This shows your leadership quality, your teamwork, your potential as someone who's involved, informed. So it gives a feel a sense that you are not just education or your transcripts and academic reports. You are a person who are involved, engaged, and contribute to the community in different ways. So that is obviously a way to show that yes, you are a leader or you are someone with potential. Having said that, at the graduate level, please also focus on, if you are focusing on a particular subject, maybe that is more relevant to show that more relevant. Because if you are going for a research work, if you are going for a teach, like something related to purely, for example, quantitative things, and if you are showing your just your music or drama, you know it adds, but it will add more if you, for example, show something, for example, math Olympiad. So extracurricular activities still, but maybe some sort of GRE competition, or some sort of activities or internship or a job experience, um, or a volunteerism. Again, in relevance to what you are doing in the future. Remember, in the statement of purpose section, as I told you, they will see your past, what you are doing now, as in terms of job or your time you're investing, and what you're doing in the future. So you have to link all these things. So if in the past you are you did just just things which are not really relevant to your future, it still is valuable. But if you can link all this towards your education, that will be even better. I hope that answers.
Thank you, Sohel. So we're going to the next questions from Sharia Tasnob Torsha. She asked, "Dear sir, what is the minimum score of GRE required to admit in one of the top 100 public universities of USA with full scholarship and full funding?"
That is a good question. Um, there are many parts of this. So top 100 universities, and you didn't tell which in which area. So top universities is not like top university for all subjects. So if you look for top 100 universities for STEM education or engineering, you'll get a different list than top 100 universities, right? So but then again, I'm suggesting you not to start from top universities. Look for where you remember. I am I can tell you one thing now. To answer your question, I'll obviously answer your question, but remember, is it important that you go to a top university or a university where you will be happy, you will feel that the program is more suitable for you? You can, for example, the university, top university is a big university with 50,000 students. Teachers do not give have the option to give you personal time to do research. Or if you're a person who's introvert or needs some guidance and assistance, you want to go to a small classroom, work with a professor, do your research well, get a good funding, small town, the happy life. You know, obviously, university ranks are important, but not to that level where you start. It may be a factor when you have offer from, for example, 5 universities. Now you to choose between 5, then you can see the final choice state that okay, maybe I should go to this university because they have a better ranking, not just this, because those 2 universities are giving you the same sort of offer, same tuition fees or scholarships or things like that. So coming to your question, top universities for in your program, it will give you a separate list than just a top university. Full funding, GRE score. GRE score can be as high as over 320. So why don't you do some do things the other way, like what you have? You should not try to match with the university, top university. Rather, what you have, you have to link that with maybe a little bit of deviation. Maybe you have 310. Maybe target something where their average GRE score requirement is 350. Maybe that is still fine. But if you have 110 GRE score and you are looking for schools or whose average GRE score or a minimum GRE score, yeah, there are minimum, but there are average. Minimum is minimum. The student can tell that minimum requirement is 310, but their average is like 320. So that doesn't mean that you meet their requirement. Yeah, you meet their requirement, but your chances of getting acceptance is still low. Does it make sense? So yes, minimum, obviously there can be minimum of I don't want to tell you a number, but when students score more than 310, 15, it is considered as a very good score for good schools. But then again, this is not something you should think about or think from this perspective. You should try to understand what is your GRE score now, or do some mock test or practice, and then try to increase. Even if you take it 10 times, it's not going to increase from 300 to 330. No, it doesn't happen. Even if students take multiple times, you cannot improve so much that it increases from 280 to 50, 50 points above. So try to understand what you have, what is your range, and then look for universities who offer within that range good scholarship, because your last part of your question is get full funding. So obviously look for full funding if that is a requirement. But full funding, then with combination of top universities, and then what is the minimum GRE requirement, I think that will put you a lot of unnecessary pressure. Don't put yourself in pressure. Don't put yourself in competition with students from all over the world by just looking at the numbers. Because if the university is not within the 100, the university's rank is 500, that will still be a very, very good university worldwide, because that university will take you everywhere in terms of job and career and research and everything. So don't just unnecessarily put yourself in a lot of unnecessary pressure. Again, I talk about it is basically in activity B, but today, since I told you that we'll give you some ideas on that as well. Your shortlist of universities should have at least three safe universities. So 3 dream schools, as I said, as you also said, top schools, dream schools, because you may not get there. You have that minimum requirement, but it's difficult for it. It's very, very competitive. It's called highly competitive schools. So you may have 3, but have 3 which is safe or a fit match. You have a CGPA of 3.5. University is asking for minimum CGPA of 3. You have a IELTS score of 6.5. University is asking for 6. That is kind of a match. Minimum requirement, you're above that minimum requirement. You are safe. And then also apply to some universities, again 3 minimum, that that are you're really confident that you'll get acceptance from there. Maybe you can get 2 of them. So remember, out of 3 categories, you get 2 offer from your most safe option, 2 offer from the reach option, maybe 1 offer from your dream school. Still 5 offers. You should at least have 4 or 5 offers. Then you can compare the scholarships, the ranking. Then you can also compare the weather and the other things, like is the location good enough for living and everything wise. You can then decide but if you are going from the ranking itself, or most competitive only, then your chances of getting scholarships may not be that high. I hope that answers the question, and I think this will be helpful for a lot of students. What more questions do we have?
Sir,
Okay, so we're going
I had
to
a
the
question,
next
sir.
question. Yeah, sure, you can continue. After that, I will question. who's talking, you can ask your question.
Oh, thank you. Sir, I had a question that I'm currently in a BSc program right now on computer science department. So after completing my graduation, so how long it is gonna take for me to complete the whole overall procedure for going abroad, especially USA, of course.
Uh, you know, how long it will take. So, for example, you are already taking preparations for your GRE or your English proficiency test. It's going to take less time than if you are not already preparing. So, so my answer to your question is that you should at least because the deadline for application is if I haven't I think I've missed this point while talking. So if you are looking for fall 2021, start from fall 2021, application deadline, it will vary from university to university, but it will be early 2021, sometime in like mid-March or mid-February, sorry, mid-February or mid-March. So starting from January. So can you complete your preparation by January or by December? That is the question you should ask yourself. So if you are targeting 2021 fall, can you complete all your preparation by December 2020? That is the question you should ask yourself. And the second thing is, you should not worry about gap years. Gap year is not a problem. If you have the reason to take a gap year, then that's the best thing to do, because you're going to still take an internship, do some extra work, um, take preparations. So you should not really look forward to complete your bachelor degree here and then just jump to a master's program. It's completely fine if you take a gap year or two, do some work here, research here, internship here, prepare for your GRE, GMAT, and work on your SOP, all those things. Work on your professor, to make the recommendation letter look better. So I hope that answers the question.
Okay, thank you, Sohel. I'm going back to the next question. Habliha and I'm asked you that, dear sir, in case of switching to a non-engineering master's program, will it be harder to get a scholarship? How will I manage a recommendation in that case, since my professors are not from that particular subject? And can you please mention the way to make up for lesser CGPA in short?
Absolutely, absolutely. This is, I like this kind of questions, because those are not just like a regular question. Obviously you can. This is possible, and these are the things you should also consider, because I'm not STEM education is very, very popular in the US. As I said, 75% of our students from Bangladesh go to STEM education, and STEM degrees actually give you a lot of opportunities as well. Also, after your completion of your degree, STEM education gives you more opportunities to do optional practical training. That means a sort of internship, but actually those are part of the curriculum internship, but those are basically jobs. So jobs means this, just note it down as optional practical training. That means that you can go to an industry as part of your curriculum, as part of your program, and that has to be organized from an international office, university international office. But still, for STEM degrees, there are more opportunities on those fields as well. But it doesn't mean that there are less, there are no opportunities or less opportunities in other areas. If you do good, you have the option to get funding and do research, or do very good in career in other areas as well. So coming from engineering degree, if you want to switch to other programs, a lot of engineers do go in corporate or business area as well. So it doesn't matter. You might have to write a supplementary essay. So a statement of purpose, but a supplementary essay, depending on the university. University might ask you to write a supplementary essay. Why exactly you are switching? It doesn't matter. If you have a reason, tell them. Recommendation letter doesn't matter. Again, there is no rule that you have to take a recommendation letter from certain professor. It's more relevant that you take a recommendation letter from your academic supervisor or professional supervisor or your course teacher. It should actually highlight your potential. It should highlight who you are as a person, what you have done, what are the kind of things you have, and then like your supervisor or teacher from your engineering school can talk about that. Yes, such and such student has done wonderfully in my engineering degree or engineering program, or and took some courses under me. But I think that if she is pursuing that, I think she will still do good because she has motivation, or she did well in other areas as well. So this is the way language, your recommender can actually, referee can actually support you towards a program. And obviously take a recommendation letter from someone who knows you. You don't have to go to the vice chancellor or the department chair or the dean to get a recommendation letter. Take some from someone who knows you, who you have worked with, who who knows about your potential, your your career focus, all those things. So I hope that answers.
Thank you, Sohel. And the next question is from Mr. Muminul Islam. He asks that, is GRE mandatory for PhD in all US universities?
GRE is not mandatory for all universities and all programs in the US. And good thing is that this year, a lot of universities have actually gone GRE optional for this time. So GRE is not mandatory. That's like the answer is no. Talk to the universities, search the universities, and tell them that you are not willing to or you are unable to take GREs. Is that still okay? However, let's think from other way. If you can demonstrate that through a GRE score, that the program you have pursued in your undergraduate is like you have done good and you have scored well, to demonstrate that you have that skill or the education which is required to pursue that particular program, then it's obviously good. So having a not great GRE is still better than not having a GRE at all, because that will give a picture. You cannot um, you cannot they will know about you. They will know about you, like, unless they are sure about your potential. They are not going to take you as a PhD student. So they will somehow want to know about your skills and your results or your potential as a PhD student. So it's better to demonstrate that upfront rather than putting them in confusion that without it. But it's possible if you have research work, if you have a professional experience. In some cases it's possible. Talk to the department, even if some universities will list that they will not mention anything about GRE. So then you might have a question like, does the GRE require or not? It means that if you have a GRE score, they will obviously take that and consider that. If you do not, then you'll have to tell them or demonstrate them how you are showing them you are a potential student to be successful as a student in that university. So that is the answer to this question.
Thank you, Sohel. We have actually a few minutes left for the question and answer session, so we will ask some question in very short way. From MRB Tassin, he asked, will applying this year without any proficiency test scores damage my application for the next year, provided that it gets rejected this year? Did you get my question, Sohel?
I think this is a good question. If I've understood well, and if it doesn't make sense, then ask the question again. But if some universities are test optional this year, so if you are if you are not taking the test and start applying, next year things get better and then they come back to normal, what will be the situation? uh, we cannot say what will happen then. If they say that, yeah, for next year we require certain English proficiency test or other test scores, you'll have to give, like, at that point, meet that requirement. So if that is the question, that is the answer.
So in the last part, the question was, if it gets rejected this year, will it damage the application for the next year?
No. Um, your condition should change. Like, your situation should change. So, like, if university doesn't take you this year, next year it will be a complete new application, and they will look at it as a fresh applicant or a new applicant. Obviously, they can refer back to the previous year if they want to. It will be in the database, but that will not affect, because that is a fresh admission cycle, and you are not like, as an applicant, obviously you are a person as a same person, but your application is not same. Like, over the year it will change, the situation will change, you might have another experience. So, like, this will be looked at differently.
Thank you, Sohel. The next question is from Ragib Afrin. Dear sir, I am pursuing my master's, which is expected to be completed by next year. Which should be my present action if I want to do my PhD after 1 or 1.5 years?
I think do some research. I was trying to show you screen. So how about, like, I show you some important information now, which will, I think, help a lot of students live, who are live in this session, and also on the Facebook. So this, you can take a lot of start taking a lot of preparation. One thing will be to go to this website. So this is educationusa.state.gov. That is the website. Let me start this as part of the answering the question. So you should always, like, all the students who are watching this and attending this session today, you should go to this website. And then for international students, this is our official website. You should click here. Click here, go to this link for international students, read this. Try to understand what education in the US is like. What is graduate education? What are the opportunities? So go there, and then it will.
Sir, can you go back to the next question?
Yes.
Okay. So the question came from Durba Panda. That person asked, what are the options for academically sound but financially poor students?
Again, academically sound. If you are academically sound, you should look for full funding or full financial aid. There are universities who offer good funding opportunities, but remember that these are very, very competitive. Not from Bangladesh, from around the world, students apply. So you can take your preparation as I was like, showing you. Go to this website, start doing your research. So if you go to this website, this will take you to the 5 steps. And the discussion I can take you through is to understand it better in depth. But if you start doing this research, then you will find that at the graduate level, like, there are, if you see, there are different programs. So if you go to the graduate link, it will give you some web link where you can start preparing or looking at the program or scholarships. So that is how you should start approaching. All of the information I provided you, there are like, some of this information are already informed here. So the reason why I put it in short is just for you to understand. Atia, let's take the next question, and I will try to show this website.
Okay. So next question is from Mr. Sohel. He asked, dear sir, US Embassy student visa processing, when it will start?
So currently, all visa appointments are currently cancelled from March. So embassy website will be updated once the operation resume. This is because of the COVID situation in Bangladesh. So once there is an update, it will be updated on the US Embassy website, and obviously keep an eye on the Embassy Facebook page as well, or social media pages. You can always email us or email Education USA if you have any particular question about any of those. But if you have visa questions, you can go to the embassy website and the visa link, and there are email address as well listed there. You can, if you have questions, you can reach out to consular section for a particular question. Yeah, for example, if you have received a I-20 letter, or like waiting to get an appointment or things like that, if you have any specific question at this moment, you should contact from the embassy um, um, information, website information, and contact there with particular question. But at the moment, there is no update on when it will resume, but we are also waiting. We are constantly taking information because a lot of students ask us this question. So once there is an update, you will get it on the website, and it will be visible, I hope.
So, sir, thank you. So, can we go back to the next question?
Yes.
Okay. Udipan Shaha, he asked, sir, doing online courses like Coursera can help for applying for a study in USA. How we can gather extracurricular activities outside university education?
I think Coursera is really, really fantastic. So you should take advantage of all those online certification and programs, and to prepare yourself to get yourself more skilled and ready for the future education and career perspective, or that's ready for the next post-COVID era, where there are a lot of changes in the whole education and employment scenario. So obviously that is one thing you can do, and that will be looked at as your initiative and activities beyond your academic career or academic program. So you can do a lot of things, but as I said, maybe focus on your passion. So maybe you are studying engineering at this moment, but if, like, what is your next career objective? So according to that career objective, do some courses, uh, attend some seminars, like take kind of short-term employment or long-term employment, whatever is available for you. So work on that. Like, if you can link all this and towards your higher education, that will obviously add a lot of value, and university will obviously, like, if they can see the link, they will obviously value all those different activities towards your future career or educational step.
Thank you, Sylvia. So, the last question I want to ask. After that, if you have any question, you can raise your hand. You can ask directly to him. So the question is from Shami Mahmood. He asked, I'm interested in software engineering, but I don't have any project or thesis that relevant to my interest. What should I do now? How can I motivate the professors that I am really interested in software engineering?
Um, I think, like, there are a few ways to approach. Before reaching out to a professor or convincing a professor, I think you have to look, like, target some universities, like, where you want to go. If you have a short list of universities, then look at their requirement. If you are, like, if you more or less think that, yeah, you will meet the requirement, then you start writing to the department. Like, these are all important. By the way, a quick tip is that if you write an email to the university or the department, this gets to their record. So after a year, if you apply, they probably will link that, yes, over last year you have been actually in touch with the university in different times with different questions. So it demonstrates that you are interested in that university or a program. Then when you email that university, obviously university department or like university the program department office, they will forward this to the professor. There are other ways, like university can upfront list the professor's name, and you can choose a professor and directly write to them. But it's not a good idea to ask the professor like, sir, like what can I do, like I have a GP of this, I do not have a GRE, what should I do, or things like that. It's not like relevant to the professor, because they get a lot of emails, and if they do not find any focus, they won't probably read or respond quickly. So it's not a good idea to write directly to the professor without having a proper. But if you have a, like if you have like something to really check with the professor, that yeah, I don't have a research experience, but I have an idea, I think that your research experience has a match, or like I am interested in you. If your writing sounds logical, or like convinces the professor, I cannot tell exactly what to write, but that then it's a good approach. I hope that answered. Antia, is that the was that the question about this, or I missed something?
Um, the last question is from Tashin. You can unmute your mic and you can ask the question directly. Can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, I can hear you.
There was another question, like two questions we have actually. After that, we will not get any more questions. My one question is, one person is want to switch his education from electrical department to CSE for master's program in USA. So which university will be better for that person, or and the question is it possible?
Yeah, absolutely possible. Why not? I can't tell you like some names just randomly, but this is so common that a lot of university will or like most university will take you. So I was going to show you that, like if you just go to those websites and put your interest in there, it's like more like Google. So Atia, if we do not have any more question, let me show that, because that's like more important for all of the students today.
Okay, thank you. So that was our question and answer session. And if you have more questions, I think you can mail us in our American Corner Rajshahi's page, and there are websites in Education USA. You can search that.
Yeah. So just finishing off my presentation with showing that, go to this website, EducationUSA website, go to the graduate link, and then like there are further links down at the bottom of the page. Find graduate colleges and narrow your choice. So you see, like a lot of questions was on finding scholarships or programs or things like that. So click on that link. It will take you to a page where you will get some websites. You see, College Navigator, gradschools.com, petersons.com, princetonreview.com. So these are some of the popular sites where you can start your search from. It's more like Google's advanced search. So there should be some, you should put some parameters like program, then like location, cost, all those components. So you should put that in this, from this one of these websites or all of these websites. So you can do your search in combination of all of these websites. That is a great way to approach. Then after you also do one of our activity B, or if you set an appointment for with an advisor, we will like help you to further shortlist. So choose a category. For example, the last question was, can I switch? Okay, so no, yeah. So choose one of these categories. For example, science and engineering. And then there was a question before from a female student about the PhD program. How can I start? So look for PhD programs. Let me open another window. Look for just PhD programs. Straight go to the PhD program. So one question was about PhD program. One was question about switching from EEE to CSE. So these are the parameters. 3 reasons to pursue. Did I click on an online program? Okay. Doctorate. So earning a doctorate degree, a PhD degree. So, view schools. So there are different ways to then narrow down your search from these websites. So do exercise this. And then there are other websites like grad schools, Peterson's, for example. So from Peterson's, you will also get similar links for your graduate and undergraduate level, graduate and PhD level college search. So again, search. And you should always create an account so it will give you more. So for example, major is computer science. And then while that link is populating, let me show another thing from this website. Whatever I talked about, defining your priorities, there is a worksheet here. So you should be able to, find that worksheet. Remember, we from the home page, we came to the research your option, graduate, and then click on the define your priorities. This is a worksheet. Definitely this worksheet will you please take a note on this, and also requesting our corner coordinator to also take a note on that. Please download this worksheet and work on that, because this worksheet will give you an idea where to start or what to look for, because I'm talking about different parameters, but what are those parameters? You should already on this paper, you should already have, for example, why do you want to study in the US? Obviously that's a good question. Your short-term goals, what are you trying to study? For example, engineering. So then is there subcategory? Is there any subcategory? Yes or no? A master's program or a doctoral studies. What is your long-term goal? This will help you to write your statement of purpose. What is your past experience? Bachelor program or a master's program? Or you already have a doctorate degree and you want to do a postdoctoral? Are you currently hold a bachelor's degree? Do you currently hold a bachelor's degree in the same field you wish to? And that is the question I think on one student asked, no, same field or a different field? If your answer is no, do you have any professional work experience? For example, yes. So it's for example, you completed your bachelor degree in EEE, but you want to switch to, for example, in industrial management. Now, do you have a professional? Yes, I'm already working in some corporate sector in industrial management or something like this. So do you how do you pay for studies? What is your financial condition? Remember that I talked about something like maybe you have $10,000 to from your personal sources. Remember, for master's program, 100% scholarships or financial aid is very, very rare. So for master's program, you should plan to have some finance, unless you are as one student said, yeah, highly meritorious, but no financial. Yeah, that happened. But highly meritorious means like, like obviously you are someone who's obviously you can demonstrate that through your academic results or GRE score. So financial aid, I told you about the financial assistantships and fellowships. There is like, this is already listed here. On-campus employment, what are you looking for? If you're not looking for on-campus employment because you think that, no, this is not worth working for a library for 20 hours a week because you want to focus on your academic degree so much, but maybe like, look for assistantships. So these are different ways you can think. But if you think that, no, I'm not working on any assistantship or fellowship, I want to like, have little bit of freedom, maybe on-campus employment like 20 hours per week on a regular semester is something you should. I cannot really, you should not look at student loan. Those are very, very difficult because you have to have a US guarantor or things like that. So don't go for loans, but no, you can look for your private sponsor or government scholarships, or your host country in Bangladesh as well. There are government scholarships, or your university can give you a scholarship, or your employer can give some scholarship or financial aid. So look for this. So these are part of your planning, right? So whatever you have. Like obviously you are going for a graduate program, not a professional program or license program. License program is like law, dentistry, and other medicine programs. So selectivity. One student told that, yeah, if I am a very, very like potentially meritorious student, yes. So this will help you to understand if you are a excellent student. If your CGPA is great, then obviously you can say that, yes. So you can say that, yeah, I'm an excellent student. Yeah, my performance is good. What is your GRE score then? So this will, and then look for other areas like what is the size of the university or location. As I said, these are also important because if you are someone who wants to work in a project, like, university campus with a like a smaller campus with less than 15,000 students, may be more suitable for you. So this is one area to do it. Public versus private. Look for public universities, also private universities. Public universities tuition fees are little bit low than private universities, but public universities have less scholarships and financial aid for international students. On the other hand, private universities have higher tuition fees, more or less on an average, but they also give a lot of generous financial aid for the international student. So look for different ways and combination of different things. Also look for region because the weather is different, the culture is different. Also your living condition, living expenses may vary depending on where you are. Um, Also your living expenses may vary depending on if you're urban or suburban or rural campus. Urban means obviously city, suburban is like, um, in between city and rural, but still in the US like context, obviously suburban is more than in Bangladesh context of like very, very highly organized city condition, but the location is little bit far from the main cities, so that is called suburban. There are universities who are suburban, but the university itself has so much of facilities, you don't have to actually go outside of that area, like be it for shopping or other things. So this is basically like so this worksheet will give you a lot of different ideas to how to manage your cost, how to plan ahead sports or arts and culture. So these are also possible. So I was looking
Okay,
at
thank you,
the
Sohel bhai. We have to close the session.
yeah,
Actually,
sure.
yeah.
So
Thanks a lot for
yeah,
all this information.
yes, thank you so much,
This will help a lot.
yeah,
Sir,
thank you so much.
স্যার আপনাকে থ্যাঙ্কস জানানোর জন্য আমাদের আমাদের IEEE ইউনিভার্সিটি অফ রাজশাহী ব্রাঞ্চের চেয়ার এমডি হোসেন মোহাম্মদ সাবির এসে কিছু বলবে।
আসসালামু আলাইকুম, অসংখ্য ধন্যবাদ স্যারকে, আমাদেরকে অনেক সময় দিয়েছেন স্যার শত ব্যস্ততার মাঝেও। তাছাড়া আমেরিকান কর্নার রাজশাহীকে ধন্যবাদ, তাদের সাথে একটা কোলাবোরেশন একটা বেশ ইন্টারেস্টিং একটা ওয়েবিনার আমরা করতে পেরেছি। তাছাড়া IEEE ইউনিভার্সিটি রাজশাহী স্টুডেন্ট ব্রাঞ্চের সকল অর্গানাইজিং টিম মেম্বার থেকে ধন্যবাদ জানাচ্ছি, খুব যত্ন নিয়ে আমাদের আজকের এই ওয়েবিনারটি সাকসেসফুলি অর্গানাইজ করেছেন। আজকের এই ওয়েবিনারে দেশের প্রায় 40টিরও বেশি ইউনিভার্সিটি থেকে প্রায় 200 জন পার্টিসিপেন্ট রেজিস্ট্রেশন করেছিলেন, বাট সিট স্বল্পতার কারণে সবাইকে আসলে সুযোগ দেওয়া সম্ভব হয়নি। তাছাড়া অনেকের অনুরোধে আজকের ওয়েবিনারটি আমরা IEEE ইউনিভার্সিটি রাজশাহী স্টুডেন্ট ব্রাঞ্চের অফিসিয়াল পেজ থেকে লাইভ করেছিলাম। তাছাড়া এই ওয়েবিনারটি পুরো সময় আমরা রেকর্ড করেছি। আমরা খুব শীঘ্রই আমাদের অফিসিয়াল ইউটিউব চ্যানেল থেকে এটি পাবলিশ করে দেবো ইনশাআল্লাহ। তাছাড়া সামনে IEEE RUSB এর বেশ কিছু ওয়েবিনার নিয়ে আসছি ইনশাআল্লাহ। আমরা চাচ্ছি যে আমেরিকান কর্নার রাজশাহীর সাথে আরো বেশ কিছু যদি ওয়েবিনার আমরা কোলাবোরেশন করে করতে পারি তাহলে আমরা চেষ্টা করব করার জন্য ইনশাআল্লাহ। তাছাড়া আপনাদের বিভিন্ন ডিমান্ডেবল কোনো ওয়েবিনার যদি আপনারা সাজেস্ট করেন তাহলে আমরা চেষ্টা করব বলে অর্গানাইজ করতে। স্যার, সবশেষে স্যারকে অসংখ্য ধন্যবাদ। স্যার খুব ভ্যালুয়েবল কিছু ইনফরমেশন আমাদেরকে দিয়েছেন। তো আমি আর কথা বাড়াচ্ছি না, ভালো থাকবেন সবাই, ধন্যবাদ সবাই।
থ্যাংক ইউ হোসেন এমডি সাবির। সবাইকে অনুরোধ করছি একটু ভিডিওটা অন করার জন্য, একটা স্ক্রিনশট নেওয়া হবে। কাইন্ডলি আমরা সবাই ভিডিওটা একটু অন করি।
রাজশাহী যে পেজটা আছে সেটা যদি আপনারা ফলো করেন, লটস অফ ইভেন্টস সেখানে আসছে। সো প্যান্ডেমিকের মধ্যে মনে হয় নতুন কিছু শিখতে পারবেন। থ্যাংক ইউ অনামিকা, পল এন্ড সাব্বিরকে অনেক কোঅপারেট করার জন্য, and it was a great session with you all.
And Apu, I would like to take the opportunity to congratulate you on your new life. Have a very congenial and happy life. Ati Apu.
অনারেবল হোস্ট, কাইন্ডলি যদি একটু কোঅপারেট করেন, স্ক্রিনশট নেওয়া হলে যদি একটু জানাতেন।
Sir, can you please stop sharing the screen? That would help us.
Sir, please cooperate.
Thank you, sir. Please, everyone.
সবাই কাইন্ডলি একটু ভিডিওটা অন করেন।
I'm taking screenshot of first page. And second page. Thank you everyone. Done.
অনেক অনেক ধন্যবাদ স্যার আমাদেরকে এতটা সময় দেওয়ার জন্য। আজ অনেক কিছু জানতে পারছি আমরা এই ওয়েবিনার থেকে। ধন্যবাদ জানাচ্ছি আজকের ওয়েবিনার অর্গানাইজিং কমিটিকে, আর IEEE ইউনিভার্সিটি অফ রাজশাহী স্টুডেন্ট ব্রাঞ্চকে এবং আমেরিকান কর্নার রাজশাহীকে। আর সর্বোপরি ধন্যবাদ জানাচ্ছি আজকের সকল পার্টিসিপেন্টসদেরকে। আশা করছি আবারও খুব শীঘ্রই দেখা হবে নতুন কোনো ওয়েবিনারে। সবাই নিরাপদে থাকুন, সুস্থ থাকুন, এই কামনায় বিদায় নিচ্ছি। অনেক অনেক ধন্যবাদ। থ্যাংক ইউ স্যার।
Thank you.